second group, and a lot of us fall under this, it's the phenomenon of social dissonance. We grow up in a city like Seattle, where we're a minority. At home, we're told about Islam. In the mosque, we're told about Islam. At home and at the mosque, we practice. We are told things. We are told things about life that are relayed as realities. We go outside in high school on our sports teams with our friends. We go out. We see the people out here, the people that are non-Muslims. It's not that they know this thing and they choose to say it's not a reality. They have no idea about it, a lot of them. And I have to sit there and say, well, I'm told this is true, I have to deal with this, I have to do all this. And the absolute majority of people in my city, in my country, it's not even a problem for them. It's not even a real thing. And they go about and they have their communities, they set laws, they do all these things. And I'm stuck trying to balance between both. At home, I live in a reality. In the mosque, I live in a reality. And I go outside and I live in another reality. Because humans, we are byproducts of social constructs. Societies develop cultures. Cultures give importance to things and devalue things. Cultures set norms. Cultures set laws, social laws. Or even in our case, and I'm going to get into that in a second, laws that govern society, right? Like countries, politics, and all these things. So here in the West, I'm not living in Iraq. I'm not living in the Middle East. I'm not living in Indonesia where it's all Muslims. I'm living in the West. I'm living in America or Canada or Europe. What are the foundations? What are the historical developments that led to this society being the way it is today, to where they don't even recognize the things that I deem to be true, or they don't even care about them? When I'm able to learn about these things, it's not my duty to go out and educate everyone on the street. It's not my duty to go out and educate everyone in school or at work. But I want to exist. If I don't live my reality that I deem to be the truth everywhere that I'm living, right, and I'm comfortable about it and engaging in dialogue about it and having conversations with people and having people know who I am for who I am, I'm always going to feel disconnected to the people around me. And you live with these people. With a show of hands, how many of you guys have non-Muslim friends? A lot of people have non-Muslim friends, right? Some of us have more non-Muslim friends than Muslim friends. So we're going to quickly go into what is it that shaped this society and led it to the way it is. And supplying yourself with knowledge lets you see the problems with those systems to where you're able to get the confidence that no one can shake you from your belief and that you don't have to go through that social dissonance. So historically, Europe has been predominantly Christian states, right, in the Middle Ages. And they would, the Catholic Church, then the Protestants split, and all these different churches would fight one against one another, and they would have their own problems, armies, kings, wars, right? But the people grew tired. People grew tired of corruption from the church. There was a lot of corruption. People grew tired, some people grew tired with the fact that they didn't accept Christian doctrine. They said, I can't accept the fact that you're telling me that God is three people. What does it mean that God's three people? Well, he put himself in a body and then he died. And if God does exist, he has to be one being that's not like anyone else. So people had problems with the corruption. People had problems with the doctrine. And that corruption led to society being generally very poor. People were not educated in reading and writing. The way of learning, if you go into churches and you see, especially older Catholic churches, the way of teaching people scripture, if you look at churches, is all through images. That's why you see very beautiful imagery in churches. Because people were not educated, trained to read and write. To learn how to read and write, you had to become a part of the clergy. You had to go to their seminaries and then learn and then be a part of that whole doctrine, the church. Other than that, you were just a peasant that took everything from the priest. And you wanted to learn about stories, it's what the priest or the pastor told you, and it's what the images that you saw on the wall. So a lot of events happen throughout history where people get to a point and they're like, this system is not good for me. And all the while Muslims in the Middle East, because of Islam, because of the blessings of Islam, because of Islam emphasizing the intellect and allowing the human to be free in exploring the world and chasing what the intellect pursues in the sciences, in understanding the religion, in exploration, you see that even in Islamic history, if people revolted against rulers, and this is mostly in the Sunni world, not in the Shi'i world, but we have the Imams and we have our own way we're following. But even within the Sunni world, when there was revolts against the Umayyads, revolts against the Abbasids, revolts against every single kingdom, pretty much every single Sunni kingdom throughout history had a revolt. People did not revolt against the religion. You don't hear that. You don't hear revolts against the religion. You hear revolts against the institution or the governing body. But people would revolt and a new Muslim leader would take place. But Islam stayed. But with the West, the entire religious doctrine was revolted against. And so that led protests. That led to kings being killed. That led to the church being put aside. Right? The Catholic Church was one of the strongest empires at the time. And its power became nothing after that, compared to what it was before. And so they separated. They said, religion, or specifically the church, has no place to do with our lives, and religion, and there's no truth to religion. Why? Because God can't be three. Their only conception of religion was Christianity. And even their accounts of Islam many a times were problematic, and they were not researched well enough. They were traumatized from the religious institution that existed and the religious doctrine that existed. And so they shut religion away. They said the human, with his capability of reasoning, is able to govern himself. And religion is meant to be something that's meant for the person to practice at home. And then starts the whole concept of the human rights movements, right? Everyone has the right. Not obviously human rights are fundamental in that there are certain human rights that are fundamental. But I'm not going to agree with everything that a system designed by humans and where they say that what they choose to be human rights and it goes against what God says, I deem that to be human rights. No. There's what I can, like I said in the beginning, I can deem what's right and what's wrong, but then there are things that God has to come and inform, like this is something that you should do, this is something that you shouldn't do. And so these societies develop, America develops. It's called, you've heard of the term secularism. It's a secular state. These are all secular countries. And so you come in as a Muslim, as an immigrant Muslim, or someone that's first generation, and Islam is still alive with you, with your family, much more than the Christians, in that it's true, you can prove it, you feel comfortable about it. And then you have to deal with all these things. So knowing that these guys are governing themselves where they rejected God and they rejected religion, and then they try to impose things on me that go against my religion, or they try to shame me for what I believe in, you have problems with your own system. They have problems they can't prove. They're stuck at a lot of different things. Where I know using my intellect and accepting Islam, I don't have to deal with these things. So I need to have that confidence that these societies, they're fundamentally broken in many ways. And I have the right to be, and I can prove that what I believe in is true, and it is true. And so no one can come and shame me for who I am, whether I'm wearing the hijab, whether I have a longer beard, whether I don't have a longer beard, I just look different, or they know my name sounds Muslim, right? And that pushes you to what? You learn about these systems, you read more about the history, and you also learn more about your religion. That's it, you need that confidence to get out of that social dissonance. Because then what does that mean? Your dialogue with all these people around you that don't share the same faith as you is an informed dialogue. It's an educated dialogue. You're able to at least have a conversation where you can talk about who you are and what you believe in. Versus if you just are, oh, Islam is good, I'm a good person, that's you're not doing anything. If you believe in Islam, you got to know your religion. You got to know your laws, you got to know your theology. So that's the second part of getting over that social dissonance.